We are talking about another round of severe weather, and this time, yet again, it will fall on Friday.
You never think it's, you're going to be affected by them.
We all need to be weather aware, and that's Friday, March 31st.
At that time, I don't think it wasn't bad here at all, but it was headed this way. You could feel it in the air.
Well, I think, hopefully it hasn't produced a tornado yet, but conditions are only going to get more favorable.
You hear those sirens, right? You don't go for cover when you hear sirens because it happens a town away.
I really wasn't anticipating anything bad happening that day.
A supercell thunderstorm like that is unmistakable.
That's when it started to get a little bit real. Something's happening. And then they started talking about, damage reports.
There's the tornado circulation, and it's moving towards Little Rock. Now is the time for school administrators to get the kids to their safe place.
There it is. We have a tornado.
That could be a strong tornado. It could be EF2 or greater.
Yeah, that was our biggest concern today, folks. Strong tornado.
Kent was here, Jill was here, KT was here, and Kent was busying himself with trying to set up the workouts.
And so everybody got on their phones, they started looking at it, so Jill and I went up front.
And we were discussing what are we going to do first? I mean, how are we going to save our energy and things like that? And KT was really preoccupied with the weather. I've known her for years. I've known her for 30 years, and she's always been like that. And so KT, nothing's gonna happen.
The sky was slate, like all the right pieces were there for this to happen. But I think several of us were just so preoccupied with the online qualifiers that we didn't give it the merit that it would have deserved if we weren't busying ourselves with being ready.
KT was really focused on watching the weather, and Laura told me that she always does that. She's always really focused on the weather. So we were just kind of keeping our eyes on it, but it was in the background.
I remember picking up my phone and putting on the local news on one of the pages, Facebook pages. The local news was when I was watching where the storms were headed. It looked like I was getting in and out service, so I really couldn't keep up with it, and I was trying to go back and forth to getting ready to work out.
I think the first siren went off. We heard the sirens, at least that's distinctively what I remember, and I think we all, started to kind of huddle.
We're all kind of like, okay, we need to make a plan. We need to decide what we're going to do in case this actually does happen. And I remember suggesting that room because it was most interior and no windows.
We had our phones on. I think KT's radio was going. We were getting these, getting these updates as it was happening. And then they went off, right? And so then you think you're in the clear, right? Oh, it's past, it's not going to go off again.
We walked up front, and at that point, probably about a minute into it, the alarms started going off again, tornado alarms. And we let him finish printing, and I looked at him, I was like, we should probably head back. And he's like, yeah, you're probably right.
Sirens was going off. I decided to go look out the garage door, looking back toward where they say the storm's coming from. At that point in time was when I saw rotation in the cloud. In my head, I was thinking, am I really seeing this? So I turn around and I look at others, say, hey, come here, look at this. And at that time, Kent and Laura came over.
This is kind of where it all got gray, but then it all got clear of what happened from that point to then going to the back door.
Laura, come over here, come over here. I think I see some swirling clouds. I'm like, all right, KT, let me go calm you down. We're not going to see any, swirling clouds, and I didn't see anything. I'm looking out there, I don't see anything. She's like, right there, do you see that swirling? I'm like, I don't see any swirling.
I could see the clouds rotating, but being scared of them, I wasn't sure if I was making that up in my head.
Kent comes over, get a second opinion. I don't see any swirling, KT. And so Kent and KT turn around and come back into the gym, and all of a sudden I see metal, debris, stuff, branches flying through the air, coming at us, and I just screamed, debris, debris.
And right as she said that, the lights went out and we ran for the room.
I was over here by the wall and I looked up, and they started to like scurry towards us. And I was like, oh man, we're gonna do, like, this is gonna happen.
So I was in the bathroom when the lights went out, but it is pitch dark in there. It is black, you can't see anything. So I'm hearing some yelling, and I'm trying to bird box my way out of the bathroom, and I open the door and everybody's running here.
We couldn't see, coming through the hallway. We couldn't see coming through the doorway here, into this room. Smitty led the way. I was kind of holding up the rear. You lose that concept of time. Is it 15 seconds? Is it 30 seconds? Was it 10 seconds between getting in that room and us huddling together?
Remember huddling next to Jill. We put yoga mats on her head, and Kate and Laura was in one corner, Jill and I was in the other. And Kent and Smitty were holding the doors.
Then I remember just making eye contact with Smitty. And then the doors trying to open and starting to rattle. And Smitty throwing himself against one door and me throwing myself up against the other. And
the glass just starts coming under the door, and it's vibrating. And it's vibrating violently. And, with my elbow up against the door and my foot kind of almost like a wedge on the bottom. I just remember thinking, it's kind of pointless that if this door is gonna fly away, I'm just gonna be like holding, like, I think it was more for like a mindset that I was holding it was more beneficial for just the thought that I was doing something in a moment where like you lost all control.
Your ears were popping, and you can hear the destruction outside. So I was just kind of bewildered the whole time. I'm like, this is really happening.
Water and glass are coming from underneath the door, and then it just got quiet. And I thought, is it done? Is it going to come back? What? It was chaotic. It was crazy. It was. I'm getting emotional now just talking about it. It was scary.
KT and I did not come out right away. Her and I were right next to each other. I was shaking. And she was too. Everybody else, like pretty immediately after it was over, went out of the room. Once I kind of gathered myself and felt okay to stand up and come out, it was weird. Like, I expected myself to feel like scared or, but I felt relieved. I felt relieved that we were in there and that this room was basically unscathed and that room was basically unscathed, and that we walk out and we see what it would have been had we been in there. Had they not seen the debris, had they not seen that rotation, had we not had those extra 5 seconds to realize, okay, this is serious, and we had been stuck out there in a box or a bike, something hit us. I felt relief for our decision making. And then it was kind of a reality of, oh my gosh. And then I felt really bad for John.
Didn't even know that it was a tornado until Jill texts. The coach just went off and said Wellness got hit, and started sending pictures. And that was first off, I was asleep and waking up to that. So that was, I was already kind of discombobulated. And then it was like, oh my goodness, I'm running around the house, grabbing shoes, grabbing socks, trying to communicate to Jessica what I'm just getting relaying to me. As soon as I get in the truck, I'm trying to like go through emails and find my insurance company, because I figure I don't know what I'm going to walk into, but they need to be involved in some ways. Hearing on the radio, they've opened up like mass casualty centers at hospitals. Oh my goodness, what just happened? What am I about to walk into? I'm calling other people, trying to figure out the best routes to get here, like what's blocked, what's not blocked. Having to go 3 or 4 different ways to get and finally get to the Kohl's parking lot, which is, a little bit of a walk, but not too bad. First thing when you get out, you're walking over bricks. Like seriously, like there's a car wash there that's like gone. The pictures don't do it justice. Like, and pictures do good. You can kind of get an overview, but when you walk through and you're stepping on glass and you're stepping over rowers and you're seeing stuff bent, and you go up front and like everything's like crazy, like glass stuck in the wall. You're walking over the bricks and the rubble, and you start, coming in and you're seeing the people that were here, like KT and you and Jill and Kent, and like just bawling the emotion of it all, not just from what they went through, but seeing something that you've worked for, been building for 10 years. And the uncertainty that comes with that, like what is next? What's going to happen? Where are we going to be? Where am I going to be operating? Not just the gym, but where the members are going to, that community that you build, where are they going to be? The chiropractic office, which kind of helps support this place, like what's going to happen with that? Where am I? So all these just questions going through your mind of uncertainty. Next Saturday morning was like amazement, was like, wow, this community is amazing. When you've got over 100 people here, like helping you pick this place up. It was unbelievable, the support that rallied around this cause. Like what just happened.